good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or if you're like, a perimenopausal woman like me, might even be good middle of the night, 2 a.m. Everyone. Welcome back to Mind What Matters, where we mind all things caregiving and we try to mind everything that matters. Liz and I were just chatting before we got on. Listen, I blame the fire horse energy. If you guys don't know, this is the year of the fire horse, and it kind of burns through your whole life, and it like gets rid of everything that
Wait a
is
second.
no
Wait a
longer.
second. I think
Yeah.
there's a horse on my hat. Look.
Oh, there's a horse on your. See. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you that fire horse energy it's having its way with all of us. It's like, yeah,
I
you
never
can
wear
choose.
that.
You can choose to believe it or not, even if you don't believe it. It is happening, and it is burning its way through Liz and I. And I was like, well, this is a perfect place to start. We have nothing left in our tanks. We have nothing left to give. We need, probably a good week somewhere of silence. And by the way, my husband does too, because we have the puppy that's been keeping us up, and my husband has been doing all the nights with the puppy. Not that it doesn't wake me up with the cries, but last night was the first night it like kind of slept through the night. Um but I feel like sometimes it's better to start, because what we do as women, I don't know if you guys recognize this, I think I've seen it in every caregiver that I've ever met, is we like to, when our lives are a mess, when we're hot messes, when we don't have things figured out, we like to isolate and we retreat. And we don't let people in, and we don't talk to people, and we don't say what's going on, because we want to like go in the cave, figure it all out, get ourselves together, and then exit the cave and back into the world once we have answers, once we have solutions, once we've picked ourselves up and, got our shit together. And I just don't believe in that anymore. I mean, I think that society told us that that's what to do as women, like this is what you need to do. You shouldn't be a hot mess in front of people. And I would like to say men have been able to be hot messes since the beginning of time in public. And like, why not us? And also, we are not meant to go through this stuff in isolation. We just aren't. And but it's just what I notice so much. So the entry point needs to be in the middle. The conversation needs to be had when we are, before the breakdown, when we don't have the answers, when we don't have it together. That is when we reach out, we wave the right flag, and we say, hey, I need help. Right?
Yeah. Or don't, in my
Or
case this week.
don't.
But it's okay. 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yes. And I texted Liz, you guys, if you haven't listened to the conversation with Eric Ireland, please do yourself a favor, follow him, read his book, listen to the conversation with him. Because I texted Liz afterwards and was like, I feel like you and I need a conversation to follow up the conversation,
100%.
because it was so, I mean,
Spellbinding?
yes. And and also the thing that he was talking about, like what I'm learning, what I have learned, what I continue to learn, is actually he is asking us to do, how he is asking us to live our lives mindfully, embodied, is, and also what he's saying is, you don't have to do it all the time. I come out of my body all the time, and then I have to go, what is that? Like check in with myself. What is that? And then return to myself. So I feel like we're all day long, just if we're doing it, quote unquote, right, all day long, we're just returning to ourselves and checking in and checking in. And that is what he means by being mindful about the way that we're living. And I honestly believe that that right there is the secret key that unlocks everything for us as humans, and our ability to actually human in this world. Because humaning doesn't mean going into a cave, not letting anybody see the crunchy parts of you. and then coming out when you're all better and putting a smile upon your face and being like, look at me, I am all better now. That's not humaning.
Mm-mm.
I just think the conversation with Eric Ireland is one of the most important conversations we've had, and that says a lot after
I
we've
agree.
talked to people like Dr. Sharon Malone, and it says so much, but it is a thing. And then there was a story that you talked about in that episode
Oh
that
boy,
I
that's where we're
that
going.
I that I wanted to circle back to.
You felt like it
Be-
was a good idea that when I'm already emotionally vulnerable to take you into one of the most vulnerable. It actually wasn't, I promise. It happened so many times. You thought this was like the sad, sad story, but it happened once a week for like
Of
3 years.
course it had no, but of course it happened once a week for like 3 years, but I think it's it is actually that story was so much of what Eric was talking about, right?
Mhm.
So, just to remind the audience, um Liz was talking about a moment with her mother, and she was standing in the kitchen, and her mother was in a facility at the time.
No, no, no,
No,
she was at home. She was at
she was at
her
home. Okay.
she was
Oh,
in a
yes, in her apartment,
She was in a
essentially.
condo about a mile,
Yes.
maybe 3 miles from me. It's where she
Yes.
lived, the longest, before she moved to North Carolina for 20 months when I, like, hit my breaking point and was just, like, trashed and burnout and done. But she had been living in Nashville for, let's see, from the time Gaines was born, before Gaines was born. So that was probably 2021. Maybe no, no,
Mm,
no. Sorry, that's not right. 2019. Probably 2019.
yeah. I was gonna say, I feel like that was pre-COVID when she was in that condo,
Yeah.
and, um, do you mind really quickly just I don't want you to relive it, but just really
Um,
quickly.
okay, which one was it again? Remind
It
me.
was
My
the one where it was the microwave situation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so Gaines was probably 2. I had him in preschool, was, like, working out in my basement to the Insanity series, which if any of you have done Shanti, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but it is just a little extra dose of irony that that was the workout video that I was doing at the time. Our basement was not finished. I was standing in, like, this tiny little carved out corner with a concrete floor just trying to get a workout in. And, I remember having to do these, like, runs back and forth, like, they're called, like, they're called suicides where you, like, go back and forth
Yes.
the
Oh,
ground.
hate
So I'm, like,
suicides.
trying to race and do those across, like, a 6-foot space, right? Like a total imbecile. And my phone starts going off, and I'm like, ugh, I knew who it was, before I mean, these videos are 28 to 32 minutes, right? Like, this is not a long period of time I was asking for. But my phone rang and I chose to ignore it. And then it rang again. And then it rang again. And then on like the 10th ring, I was like, well, okay, I'm going to pick it up. And for those of you thinking, oh gosh, what a horrible daughter. This was happening every day over, something or other. Like her
I can
internet would go
guarantee you
out.
that not one person who's listening to this in an audience of caregivers is thinking, "What a they've
Well,
all been there."
I mean, it sounds bad, but like I said, every day was something. Her internet went out. She needed me to come over and just unplug her router. Like she couldn't do that.
Yes.
I mean, it didn't matter what it was. So anyway, I pick up and she tells me her plate that sits inside her microwave is broken. And I'm like, it's like 10 a.m. What do you need your microwave for at this exact moment? She's hysterical. She's like, you have to come over right now and fix this plate. And I'm thinking, it's a glass plate. Like, what do you want me to do? Super glue it? Like, that's not happening. So I was like, Mom, I'll be there in a minute. Okay. So let me finish my workout. And so she starts crying and she's like, no, you can't finish your workout. Like, I need this done right now. This is the only way I can still cook for myself. You have to do this. So I ignored her and I was like, okay, I'm going to finish my workout. I'm going to get till noon. I think it was a Monday. I had to pick up Gaines at 12. And I mean, he was only at school for 3 hours, this little preschool. And
Oh,
I went and picked
yes.
him up and I went to Target, got her a, replaceable plate or whatever and brought it over to her. And she was so grateful. She really was just so grateful. And that was always the worst is when she would thank me for taking care of her. I hated those moments because
Mm.
so much of the time then, like, nearing when I burnt out, I was so resentful of the role, and I was so angry at the disease, and I couldn't see through that anger to be, um I couldn't get to that place. I couldn't get access the part of myself that would
Soft
just
heart.
allow tenderness, both for
Yeah.
myself and for her,
Yeah.
It was like a
Yeah.
stonewall situation because I'd
Yeah.
been doing it for so long, and I'd never dealt with a
Well, because I
single.
think you go numb. I
You
think you
do,
go numb. And I think it's actually it's
100%.
nothing and for anybody who has felt that, just so you know, it is your body and your mind's way of protecting you
Yep.
in a big way from honestly like being a danger to yourself sometimes in those moments or even falling apart when you have to keep going.
Mhm.
Because if you fall apart, you can't keep going. But if you go numb, you can continue to put one foot in front of the other. Your
Yeah.
body, you are just an animal surviving. And that brain is like, how do we survive? How do we survive? How do we survive? I mean, humans and our ability and animals, our ability to be resilient,
Mhm.
it's pretty incredible. So, like, please don't, anybody who's ever been in that situation where you've just gone numb, you cannot beat yourself up for that. That is your body's way of trying to protect you. But it's also a warning sign. It's
Mhm.
also a red flag, right? It's also, if we're doing what Eric is talking about and checking in with ourselves, what is that? What is that? What is that? A feeling takes 90 seconds to pass through our bodies. The
Mhm.
reason we suffer is because we're unwilling to feel that feeling in the moment.
That's
Because
it. That's it.
so continue with you get over there, you've got gains, and she's so
Um,
grateful.
yeah, she's so grateful, but and unfortunately, I think this is the risk, and we could talk about this after, but I think the risk of being numb through all these major things that happen, at least in Alzheimer's and dementia or ALS or, whatever this long-standing neurodegenerative disease is you miss moments that you
Mm,
can find healing along the way. And that's what happened to
yes.
me this day. So, and that's why I think what Eric was saying was so profound. But, in her gratitude, she became emotional, and she did this often. And maybe perhaps it was because it was not uncommon that I sort of stonewalled it, in that moment. But she started crying, and she started
Mm,
saying how, "Don't start crying again, Deloach. No more crying from you." But she started just expressing how sorry she was that she was such a burden to me and that I had to drop what I was doing. And she knew how hard motherhood was. And she remembered those days and what a slog, and how when you just get the littlest time to yourself, how important that is. And here she was taking that up, and she felt so badly. And she just went on and on about how much this disease was taking from her and from us, and how she couldn't be the mom that I needed in this stage of my life, and how she knew
mm,
that because she didn't have a mom in that stage of her life. My mother's mother was also very sick, not with Alzheimer's, but she was a caregiver to her own mother, and she was just so desperate and emoting, and I think grieving what was happening to her. She was grieving, um, the disease, but she was also just grieving her own independence and sense of self, and I was just so overcome with emotion, obviously, of seeing my mother that
mhm,
sad, but also I was
mhm,
worried she was gonna scare Gaines because he was, 2 years old, and so I didn't want her to keep crying. I just was like, "Okay, it's alright," like, "Other parents need help from their adult children. You're not doing anything wrong." I sort of just played the whole thing down, and then she actually
mhm,
tried to stop me. I don't think I said this, on the podcast, but she tried to stop me, and she said, "Well, most parents don't have Alzheimer's, Liz.
mm,
You're wrong, and I know what
mhm,
a burden I am to you." And it just it did threaten to completely overtake me, and in that moment, it was like, I mean, as it often did, and sometimes it would hit me harder than others. There were other times where she'd say it, like, after a fight over, cleaning her house or whatever it was, and so sometimes it wouldn't hit me so hard, or, like, that expression, like, "Get you by the balls," so good, like, but that one did, and instead of sitting in it with her and taking that opportunity to grieve with her and cry and be like, I know this sucks. This is horrible. And I miss you and I do need you and you're not there. And I do get resentful sometimes, but I love you so desperately and it's why I'm doing it. And I don't want to lose another family member. And I don't want to feel like I don't have control over it like we did with Michael. And this is so hard. Instead, I just shut it down and was like, let's not scare the baby, essentially. And it could have been a moment of healing. And that's, I think, what I want you guys to hear is how, even though there are so many times as caregivers, the diseases that we're caring for tend to just suck up all the air out of the room and take over not only your loved one, but you, um, it can be so easy to shut down.
Yeah.
But it is so possible to be holding on to joy and to still feel happiness and to still be yourself and okay and not burn out in the midst of these diseases. I know because I ended up getting there. I just wasn't there in that moment. Um, if you'll just let the emotion in, but you have to. Like, it's literally the only way through it is to feel it. And, you'll hear
Yeah.
Nikki and I say that 2001 times probably on every podcast, but like it is the truth. It is the fundamental truth of life in general,
Yeah.
but especially in caregiving. If you don't
Especially.
stop in those moments and give yourself the chance to grieve what's happening and you just keep stuffing it, in my mind, that's what leads to the burnout. 100%.
Well, and that's why I wanted to do the follow-up conversation, because I thought between your story and what Eric was sharing, I was like, here is the solution,
Mm.
right? Here's the solution of how we human through these really hard things. There, in no world is it going to look like disappearing into a cave and coming out the other side. But
Right.
when we first start to enter into a hard thing, whether it's caregiving for a parent, for a child, navigating heart surgeries like we did, navigating hard diagnosis. In the beginning, I think what the natural human instinct is to do is like, I'm going to retreat inside of this.
Mhm.
And then once I'm through it, then I'll return and I'll be myself again.
Mhm.
And then you stay in it, waiting to return to yourself, waiting to return to yourself, waiting to return yourself. And you are not allowing the situation to do its job. I always say with grief, which is really just grief, right? With somebody with Alzheimer's, you're grieving every day. That's part of what that is. And I tell somebody who's recently lost somebody, and I'm talking to them and I say to them, this is the first, thing I'll say is, please let grief do its job,
Mhm.
because it is supposed to break you.
Yeah.
You are not supposed to come out the other side yourself, the person you were before.
Mm-mm.
That's insane. But in our heads, we're like, oh no, I have to go back to the person that I was, without understanding that being a human is allowing that life to change you on a cellular level, rewiring your brain, helping you to see. Like, I went to on Monday, Bennett had his 6-month echocardiogram appointment at Children's, and I was checking in, and the lady behind the front desk, I mean, she's been there since Bennett was born. So, I don't know how long total, but at least in our, 8 years that we've been going and checking in at that desk, she's been there. And so she saw Bennett as obviously a baby. And now she's seeing him as like, this big 8-year-old boy. And we were talking about it. And we were talking about, and I posted about this recently, making the ordinary extraordinary. And what I'm so proud of myself that I have done is I have allowed these things to change me.
Mhm.
And one of the gifts of being changed by these hard things is I don't ever take anything for granted. When I see Bennett or even Hudson running around on a baseball field, like, it almost makes me emotional, because that's not promised.
Right.
It's not promised, and I know that. I know that via losing my grandfather, via losing my dad far too young, and also almost losing my son. And the gift of it, and I said to her, that's the thing, is it's like if we allow these things to do its job and we allow ourselves to feel it and to be changed by it, then we are able to come out of the fire with something that to show for it.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, sometimes that, like, I know I've heard you say sometimes, like, I just feel like I'm not like that happy-go-lucky person that I used to be, right? And that part sucks. And yeah, you might have to grieve that part of you, but look at what you've added. Look at who you are now. You're going to school to get your degree so that you can help caregivers and families, and you can consult and really help them navigate that. You would not be doing that 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
No. Mm-mm. Well, I
Look at
don't
how
think
much.
I wouldn't have had the perspective to offer.
Exactly.
You know, that's the whole
Exactly.
thing is just
It,
like, don't do it like I did. Don't try and hold it all together for so long. I mean, I used to have this family member that, I mean, if I heard it once, I heard it 1,000 times, get your shit together, get your shit together. And I never could. And I used
See,
to just
this is the
feel,
thing. I am glad that you and I were not friends in that moment in time, because I tell you, I would have drop kicked that family. I would have flown to Nashville or wherever this family member is. We will not call him out. And I would have literally drop kicked.
I think it was coming from a place of love, of like, just stop letting this disease overtake you. I think that's
That's
where,
not love.
yeah. Well, another podcast, another day. Maybe a private
That
one.
is not meeting people where they are, which is
Um,
love. That is you're making me uncomfortable because you are showing up as your real authentic self and allowing your life. You're showing your humanness, and that's making me a little uncomfortable.
well, the point is that I, oh God,
Okay,
you just
fine.
keep, you just keep turning right, and I'm just going to keep turning the car left. That's fine. We'll get there eventually.
We sure will. We might be like 10 hours late, but we'll get there.
Subsequently, you and I should never, ever get in a rental car together, ever.
By the way,
Because
you're
we already
driving,
have.
just so you know. I
We
am
already have.
a passenger princess.
Okay, so the point of it is, though, I so wanted to get my shit together, but I didn't realize that
Of course.
the only way to do that would have been to just cry when you need to cry. And guys, like, the thing that I think so many people don't understand until you've done grief the right way, after doing it the wrong way for a very, very long time. I mean, anticipatory and ambiguous grief is just that, Do you remember like the
Oh, it's so
ambiguous?
awful.
You remember the ambiguously gay duo from SNL? Like, it is ambiguous. Like, you don't freaking know when it's hitting you. You're just like standing in the grocery store watching some mom shop with her daughter, and all of a sudden you want to cry, and you're like, well, what the
Yeah.
hell? Like, where even
Yeah.
is that coming from? Like, I'm just
Yeah.
watching this total strangers here or whatever, but I think the point is, everyone thinks that when you have these really hard moments that, you feel the lump in your throat and you want to cry and your whole body starts tingling, and then you don't. The reason you don't is because you're just like, well, I won't be able to stop. I won't be able to stop crying. Here's the thing. You
90
do.
seconds.
You can stop. Like,
90 seconds.
you will bawl your eyes out. It will feel excruciating in the moment. You will hurt. It hurts. It hurts desperately bad. I mean, when you're like in those moments of like serious grief and you are letting it out and you're experiencing the pain, it does hurt. But then in like 15 minutes, it's better and you're better. And you can like, turn around
Not
and laugh.
even. I'm telling you, it takes 90 seconds
Oh,
for
that's
you
what you were
to
saying. 90
for
seconds
you
to
to
reset.
move through an emotion.
Mm,
Or you
I
can
don't know. I would challenge that. If you're like really upset about something, like for instance, that did happen
Oh,
to me
for
the first
sure.
week, like so
For
many times.
sure.
And I remember one time I had to like walk outside, get in my car, cry for like 10 minutes, and then I was fine. you
Well,
know?
maybe some people need 10 minutes, but either way, the point is that it's not a long time. It is a very, very short period of time. And then you, when you move forward, you have reset your nervous system.
Mhm.
You've created space in your body. You've created space in your mental, emotional capacity
You
to
haven't ignored it.
hold. You haven't ignored it. And that is the way to remain soft and tender
Mhm. Mhm.
and to let the hard do its job. That's called humaning.
Yep.
But what we're trying to do is be robots and move through it, thinking that, like, if we allow ourselves to give ourselves the 90 seconds or the 15 minutes or whatever it is that we need, that we can't do that. Why? Because of shame, because we couldn't handle it. We couldn't handle it. Why can't I handle this? Or because of guilt, or because of fear, or because whatever that emotion is. But I will say this until I'm blue in the face, especially for those of you who are listening who believe in God, which I know a lot of you do. Why do you think, if you believe that God made us in an image and likeness of God, why do you think God also gave us every single emotion under the rainbow? To what? Not feel it? No, we are all supposed to be learning something from everything that we feel at each moment in time, whether it's on the spectrum from rage to grief.
Mhm.
They're all important. And you matter. I mean, I was raised in a family, I was raised in a community where I was taught every single day, literally told every single day, it is better for little girls to be seen and not heard.
Mhm.
And I think most of me getting in trouble was that God, me knowing that I am made in the image and likeness of God, and
Mhm.
I will absolutely be heard. And people didn't like that. And I didn't care. And it's like,
That's how God made you.
because that's how God made me. And also, you should never, ever, ever tell anyone it's better to be seen and not heard. Anybody who's still doing that, please stop. Please
I
stop
don't think
silencing
I
people.
don't think our listeners are those people, to be honest with you.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if you are a person who is told that, if you are a person who, like, let's just cancel that. That's canceled. But I feel like all of our programming, so many of us at this age who are caregiving, because this is the sandwich generation, you're taking care of parents, you're raising children, or even if your children are older, you're still raising them. Even if they're in college, you're never not raising them.
That's right.
And I think we are of that generation where we were told a lot that it's better to be seen and not heard, and that somehow something is wrong or broken with us if we cannot, quote unquote, control our emotions. Well, guess what? What does that do to little boys? It makes them violent eventually in their lives when they don't get to feel their feelings. And what does it do to women? It gives them disordered eating.
Anxiety.
It gives them anxiety. It makes them want to disappear. It makes them go into isolation when they're dealing with hard things.
Disassociate.
This programming is bullshit,
Yep. That's right.
and it has to stop. And so what Eric is asking us to do is not just reprogram ourselves, it's reparent ourselves.
Mhm. I wrote about that in my book. I actually
Mm,
say, you read it yet? I sent it to you.
you did send it to me. I can't read it this week. I will read it when I go to Ireland.
There is a part in it where I'm discussing how my mom told me she had breast cancer and what that was like and the memories that I had. And for those of you that haven't listened to past episodes, my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer on a Tuesday and my brother with Hodgkin's disease literally 2 days later. Or not diagnosed, but we at least knew he had had a mass like found on his chest or whatever. So rough week for a little prepubescent, Liz, to put
Yeah.
it mildly. But one of the things that was so aggravating to me is my mom did all this work for the American Cancer Society and the Breast Cancer Foundation. We did the first Relay for Life in Connecticut. She gave the first kickoff speech. I mean, she was a badass. And she really devoted her life, especially after Michael died, to really talking a lot about advocacy for cancer and for survivors. And she felt strongly that she had been given her life back and she wasn't going to waste it. And
Mm.
particularly in light of losing her son, who later died. But she gave this either it was a speech or it was an article. Actually, it was an article that she wrote to the
Yes.
Hartford Courant, and she wrote in it that she was telling me, and that she noted that I had taken the news really hard. And I had to laugh at that in like a what the F kind of way. Like,
She
what?
took the news hard. Yeah. She's
Like,
a
what
she was a
exactly?
she was a
How
little
was
girl
I
who just
supposed to take that exactly?
who just
And
learned that her mother had cancer and her brother had cancer.
right,
How else was she supposed to
that's right.
receive that information?
But I realized, and I said this in the book, I was like, how exactly did she think I was supposed to take it? Like, hey, mom, you'll get a cool new pair of tits for the new dating scene now that you're recently divorced. By the way, are we having cauliflower or broccoli tonight? Like, I mean, what in the world? It's unhinged. It's unhinged that she would
That
think
is
I
unhinged.
I would not, but doesn't it say everything? That
Yes.
like, and I remember specifically like not ever being able to cry around my parents. It
Yeah.
happened very rarely. And I think about my kids now, they cry when somebody doesn't, share their ice cream that they got at Trader Joe's to pick out after dinner. I mean, they will fight and cry over everything.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
cried over nothing.
I
And I realized
remember
that's the
yeah,
win.
go ahead.
That's the win, right? We're raising kids that
Yeah.
know it's okay to express their emotions. And
I
so if
broke
we're
my
well,
foot in New
you did?
York
Oh,
in a competition.
I hate this story. I hate this story.
Toe
Talk about
touch,
wanting to drop it.
beginning of the dance number, I go up in a toe touch, down in a split, and I literally hear it go crack. I finish the whole dance, back tuck, everything. I get off stage, I collapse, and I start
Back tuck,
crawling.
back
Oh,
tuck.
yeah, back tuck, broken foot. I am 11. No, yeah, 11. I crawl. No, I'm 10 because I'm 10 when we were in New York. So I'm 10 years old and I crawl over to my mother and my grandmother and I am crying. I'm in so much pain. And my mother lights over and she goes, "Stop crying. You are embarrassing me. You suck it up. Suck it up right now." I'm a 10-year-old who broke her foot. And then my mother makes me walk around the streets of New York for 3-4 days.
God bless your
I could not even fit my foot into a shoe. She's like, "We came all the way up here for you. And
Carrie DeLoach, if you're listening, I love you, but the monster mom fail on this one. Good God.
finally my grandmother was like, "Terry, we are taking her to the ER. This child's foot is broken." And so same. I could not cry or show an ounce of weakness as a child. And let me tell you, that messed me up so bad.
Mhm.
I mean, the undoing of that,
Takes years, like a
it
decade.
it took decades for me to undo the wiring. So
You're still undoing that.
I'm
By the
still undoing it. I will be undoing it for the rest of my life, I feel like. And listen, she was probably doing what her dad did to her. But we're breaking patterns. But anybody listening now and you're like, "Ooh, I can relate to that. And my parents did that," or whatever. But if you're also repeating the pattern in yourself, you're still punishing yourself for being human.
Yep. So don't do that.
Please don't do that. We're adults now. We get, and the hard part of that is that adulting is hard. We have to feel our feelings. We have to do big girl things. We have to move through it, not around it. But the beauty of that is that our parents no longer get to be in charge of how we decide to move through anything, of how we decide to move through our hard.
Mhm.
And also, we're not passing that on to our kids. Somewhere in between don't cry, suck it up, and crying over an ice cream is probably an equilibrium and balance. But I would much rather my kids feel their feelings for 90 seconds or 10 minutes or whatever it is, which is what my kids
Right.
do. It's like they cry for like 2 minutes and then they move right past it and they move on.
Yep. That's the sweet spot. Guys,
You
we love
know?
you. Please just learn from our mistakes. And
Yes,
that's
learn
the
from
whole
our
reason
mistakes.
this podcast exists, right? Is to be like, do it better. Do it better than we did. Do life better, And these are hard things to do. And you might be sitting there on your middle of your 4th year where you've not taken a vacation and you haven't left
Yeah.
your loved one, and you're like,
Yes.
easy for you guys to
You
say.
just say,
I
yes.
hit numb so long ago. And to that, I would tell you this applies then mostly to you, because you cannot save your loved one. They are going to die from these diseases, and there's nothing you can do about it. But you can save yourself. You
Mm,
can save yourself. And so
yeah.
just start. Just start today. Listen to this podcast again. Seriously, play it back from the beginning. Take notes. Write down every single time in the last 7 days that you have felt fear, or you have felt sorrow, or you have felt
Or
anger,
numbness.
and just journal about it. Sometimes, I can't express enough how different putting your emotions on a page is from just thinking
Yeah.
about them. It really is like there is something magical that happens when you're able to write them down. It's your body's way of processing it in a completely different way. And and when I was writing this book, there were times I was just sitting there writing with like tears coming down my face. And I think if you can just acknowledge what you're going through and give yourself a quiet few minutes of just maybe 15 or 20 minutes in the evening to just recap what you went through in that day. Your loved one had 3 accidents. Your loved one is getting bed sores, and maybe you feel guilty because you haven't changed them often enough because you've seen that, and you're just
Mm-hmm.
absolutely wrapping yourself in self-shame. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they're bruised because of ways that you've pulled on them, trying to get them out of bed or into a wheelchair or into the shower, and you see the marks and you think, God, what am I doing? I'm hurting them. Um, there's so many ways that we punish ourselves as caregivers, and
Yes.
none of it is fair
No.
because you're doing the best that you can. And I just charge you before in these last moments, I just want to say, please just give yourself a chance at surviving this and coming out the other side and not having this disease have destroyed you too. Because it's
Mm.
so easy to do. It's the easiest thing to do. Frankly, it's a lot easier than just falling apart and feeling everything along the way. This is hard. What we're asking you to do is hard because you're already carrying so much. And we're asking you to try and feel it while you're doing it. And I couldn't do that for a really long time. But guys, it changed everything when I started doing that. I became a better caregiver, not just to my mom, but to my children, to my husband, to myself, to my friends.
Yes. Yeah.
It's possible. I promise.
That's beautiful, Liz.
Well, I'm not completely full of shit all the time. Most of the time.
You guys, we love you. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you and talk to you next time.
Bye, guys.